Hi there, Deb Hoekstra from Bee-Bug Creations, and I'm here to share a how-to video with you. We'll be learning how to use the Stamp-A-Majig. Isn't that a funny name? The Stamp-A-Majig is a tool that helps place stamped images exactly where you want them on your page or project, perfectly every time without any guesswork. And I've heard it described as a tool that will turn a good stamper into a great stamper. It comes with this little T-square tool that's got rubber on the bottom to help it keep it from slipping, and this little plastic image sheet. And what you'll do is the first thing that you need to do is get your image that you'll be working with onto the plastic image sheet. And to do that, you'll lay your plastic sheet on your work surface. You'll take the T-square and you'll notice that it's a right angle here. That angle is going to line up right with the corner of the plastic image sheet, and they're going to be tight together. Now, I'm a right-handed stamper, so I will be stamping with the image sheet on my right. If you are a left-handed stamper, you can get the same result with the image sheet on the left, but for me that's not comfortable stamping, so I'll be working from the right. So I've got it lined up, and now I'm going to ink my stamp. And I'm using one of the images from the new Mosaic Madness stamp set. That's a really fun stamp set to use, and it is a really great one to use with the Stamp-A-Majig. You'll notice that I lined my stamp up with the edge and the top of that T-square. I pushed it down onto the plastic image sheet, and this is what happened. The image showed up onto the sheet. So I want to make a background for my project, and I want to use this image, and I want to make it a repeating image. Now, if you're just going to put the image in the center of your project like this, you won't need to do the step that I'm showing you, but because I'm going to see how my paper moved, because I'm going to want this up in the corner of my project and my image sheet goes off of the paper, I'm going to want to attach this to my work surface so it's not going to move on me. So I'm just going to take a glue dot, put it on the back of the paper I'm working on, and I like to also use my lines on my working surface to help me keep things square. If I have astigmatism, and quite often things don't come out square the way I want them to, and that's another reason why this is a great tool, because it really helps you locate where you want your images. So I want my first image right here in the corner, so I've lined it up where I want it to stamp. I'm going to line the Stamp-A-Majig up with the corner of the image sheet, just like I did when I was putting the image on there. However, this time I'm going to lift the image sheet out of the way, ink up the stamp, and just like when I made the image on the plastic sheet, I line the side and the top of my stamping block up on that Stamp-A-Majig, go down, lift straight up, and there is my first image right there on my project. As I said, I want to make a line of these. I want to make a repeating pattern. So I line this up. Again, I'm using my my grids here to make sure that I've got it lined up. And you can use this with just regular white grid paper. And again, I ink up my stamp, and then I go straight down, straight up, and there is my second, oops. See, even when you glue dot it, it moves. There's my second one. Now I'm going to do my third one. So I'm going to put this right where I want it, line up my Stamp-A-Majig, take the plastic sheet out of the way, and continue. And let's say I've done a whole line of these. Now I want to come back and I want to add the image somewhere else. I want to make kind of a background. So I'm going to put that where I want it, take the plastic sheet out of the way, and put it right there. Now, let's say I want it to go all the way to the edge, and this will be kind of funny because I'm not working on paper, but if you were working on white paper, it would stamp on the paper. All I would do is go like this. Whoops, I'm not quite square. There we go. Put over just a tad. There we go. I've got it where I want it. Now I'm going to stamp, but obviously I'm going to have to get some ink on my black. I'll have to remember to wipe that off. But see, by doing that, there we go, I can get a perfect image. And let's say I wanted to fill in up here. All I would do is go like this, line up my grid piece, or line up my T-square, stamp my, ink my stamp, just like that. Again, I'm going to wipe that off because I don't want it all over. Let's say I wanted to fill in that corner. I'd do the same thing there. I'd go like this. I might want to use two glue dots on this. This is kind of moving around on me. And like so. And there you have the beginning of, and I could do a whole background this way and fill in a whole background. If I wanted to just do a border, I could do that as well. What would be some other uses for the Stamp-A-Majig? Well, if you're like me and you have trouble, and I'm going to just stamp some more while we talk. If you have trouble lining things up squarely, that would be a great use for this because you can figure out where you want it on the paper before you stamp it. How many of you have had this happen to you before? You've got your project all done, you go to stamp on the inside of your project with the sentiment, and the sentiment comes out crooked. I've had that happen to me. I can't tell you how many times. The Stamp-A-Majig would be a great way to prevent that from happening. You'd line up your greeting, your stamp it, and you're done. Another use for it would be is if you have a punched image, for instance, like a leaf or something like that that you want to get a sentiment on and you want to get it on square, you could use it for that. I'm going to do this one more and then I'll be done. So there are many, there we go. And there I've hit the edge, and so I can go back and fill in and make a background piece. There are many uses for the Stamp-A-Majig. It's very simple to use. Don't think of it as an extra step in your stamping project, because how many of you, like I said, have got the sentiment on or something else wrong, didn't go on right, and then you had to go back to ground zero and recut cardstock and all of that. So in the long run, the Stamp-A-Majig can really be a time-saving tool, especially if you have a stamp set like the Modern Mosaic stamp set where you want to make a background or a repeating pattern or something like that. It can be a great time saver. When you are all done, you simply run this image sheet under water because our ink is water-based. It will wash right off. You dry it, you put it away, and you are ready to use it again for your next project. So Stamp-A-Majig may be a tool that you might want to consider putting in your crafting library. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you next time.